was a time, long before freedom came, when God's people were not free at all. They were slaves in Egypt. They worked hard. They were treated harshly. And slowly, they were losing hope. And in those days, a fearful king rose up, a pharaoh who saw their growing numbers and grew afraid. So afraid, in fact, that he ordered something terrible, that every Hebrew baby boy should be taken and thrown into the Nile. But even in the darkest moments, God is already at work. One child was born in secret, his mother seeing something special, something God-given, hid him as long as she could. And when she couldn't hide him anymore, she placed him in a small basket and set him gently among the reeds of the river, trusting that somehow God would do what she could not. And wouldn't you know it, right there in the waters meant for death, God brought life. That child was found drawn out of the river by Pharaoh's own daughter and given a name, Moses. Raised in a palace and yet born among slaves, Moses would grow up between two worlds, not yet knowing that one day God would use him to change history.
Hidden child in the shadow of a law, mother's hand shaking as she weaves a straw, pitch and prayer sealing every seam flow. My son on this frail, thin dream.
Sister watching from the thorn and dust, eyes like lanterns, fear and trust, waves like fingers dragging at the hull, each small splash another pour.
Basket on the river, carried by a buried promise, tears in the current, questions in the tide. How do you choose who lives, who vanishes, who holds the heartbeat, who decides?
Bitter decree in the mouth of a king,
Softest goodbye as a mother lets go.
basket on the river, fragile as a prayer where cannon our Lord cradle flow.
Daughter of the throne walks the water's edge,
Silk on stone, gold dust on the sand.
lifts back the cloth, hears a stranger's cry.
Mercy cracks the armor in her eyes. Shall I find a woman who can feed this child? Sister steps forward, steps through exile. Mother called back by a twist in the tale. Paid to nurse the son she had to veil.
Raised in the house that signed his doom,
Learning the language in their
a
rooms.
river between the blood and the crown. Every name he hears weighs him down. Basket on the river, carried by a buried promise, tears in the current, questions in the tide. How do you choose who lives, who vanishes, who holds a heartbeat, who decides?
Wicked command carved in palace stone.
Grace like a secret slipping through the throne.
Basket on the river, fragile as a prayer, carried where the silent hand is.
Was it chance?
Was it planned?
A sister in the rushes?
A princess in the sand?
Was it fate?
Was it bread?
A mother paid to cradle what was marked for death.
Was it chance? Was it planned? A sister in the rushes, a princess in the sand? Was it fate? Was it bread?
A mother paid to cradle what was marked for death. Basket on the river, carried by a buried promise, tears in the current, questions in the tide.
How
You see, Moses had grown up in Pharaoh's palace, clothed in fine linen, taught in the ways of Egypt, surrounded by power and comfort. But something stirred inside him, something he couldn't ignore. One day when he was grown, he went out to see his own people, the Hebrews, and what he saw troubled him deeply. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, and in that moment, something rose up in Moses. Anger, yes, but also a sense that this was wrong. He looked this way and that, and when no one seemed to be watching, he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Moses thought perhaps he was stepping in to help, but things don't stay hidden forever. The very next day, he saw two Hebrews fighting. Trying to make peace, he stepped in. But instead of gratitude, he was met with suspicion. "Who made you ruler and judge over us?" they said. And just like that, Moses realized his actions were known. Word spread, and Pharaoh sought his life. So Moses fled. But where on earth can a guilty heart hide? Now imagine that, child, from a palace to a wilderness in a single turn of events. Moses ran far, all the way to a land called Midian, and there, weary and alone, he sat down by a well. But even there, God was not finished with him. Some shepherd women came to draw water, but other shepherds drove them away. And Moses, well, something in him hadn't changed. He stood up for them, helped them, and watered their flock. That act of quiet courage led him to a new place, a new family. He was welcomed into the home of a man named Jethro, and there Moses stayed. In time, he married one of his daughters, Zipporah, and just like that, the man who once lived among royalty became a shepherd in the wilderness. You see, this part of the story may seem like a detour, but it's not. God was shaping Moses, not in the palace, but in the quiet, hidden places. Because before God calls a man to lead a nation, he often leads him into the wilderness first.
Blood on the bricks, dust on his hands, one buried secret in a burning land. He saw the lash come down, sand drank the shout, turned, struck the soldier, fear pouring out. Eyes met the body, sun sharp as a knife. He covered the silence under broken light.
Sands on holy fire, footsteps in the waste, running from the ruins with judgment in his wake. Name burned off his tongue, past torn from his eyes. Sands on holy fire.
Where can guilty hearts hide?
Will you strike again? You heard your
judgment in his wake. Name burned off his tongue, past torn from his eyes, sands on holy fire.
Where can guilty hearts hide?
You wear murder like a mantle, and still you call yourself stranger. You fear men who breathe dust more than the one who breathed you. I saw the blow before you struck. I saw the child before he cried. I saw the exile and the prince, and I have waited in your wilderness. You are not the sum of buried bones, nor the echo of a single day. I take ashes, and I write futures. I take fugitives, and I carve leaders. Lift your eyes from the dead you hid. To the living I will raise. Walk on, wander. Every step away is a step into my design.
You drink from a stranger's well, you stand by a stranger's fire. Hands torn from royal rings, now scarred with desert wire. You break the chains off daughters, you shield them from the rod. Who knew a trembling outlaw could be held,
Could be heard by God. Sands on holy fire, footsteps in the waste, running from the ruins with mercy in his wake. Name pressed in the dust, story in your hands, sands on holy fire.
you are leading through this land.
Soft are the footfalls, hard is the road.
Still in the silence, a low voice grows.
Sands on holy fire, carry what I've done.
Hide me in the desert until your will is
Now, it's been 40 years since Moses fled Egypt, and he's no longer a young man. Now he's tending a flock of sheep that belongs to his father-in-law, Jethro, and he leads them to the western side of the wilderness. There, he comes to a mountain known as Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a blazing fire from within a bush. Moses saw the bush ablaze with fire, but it was not consumed. So Moses thought, I must go over and see this marvelous sight. Why is the bush not burning up? When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called out to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. Here I am, he answered. Do not come any closer. God said, take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. Little did Moses know that God was going to ask him to go back to Egypt to talk to the tyrant, Pharaoh, and demand that he let the Hebrew people go. But this isn't the same impulsive Moses that killed a guard. He feels insufficient, and he feels afraid. After all, Moses had spent 40 years running from his past, his failures. Surely God should send someone else to negotiate with Pharaoh. Someone confident, a good speaker, a man of high standing, not a defeated old shepherd with blood on his hands. But God had seen Moses' compassion for his people, the way he had tried to protect them and bring peace between them. And even more importantly, God told Moses, I will be with you. Take off your sandals. The dust is holy now. I have heard the ground cry out. I have seen the weight on every bent back in Egypt. I have come down to pull their chains from the earth. My name is a tremor on my own tongue. Hands burned, heart shaking at the thorn and flame. I'm small, I'm no one. Who am I to stand before a throne of stone and call a tyrant by name?
You stare at the fire, but you look like ash. Eyes full of questions you don't dare ask.
You carry your failures like a second skin. Still the desert wind keeps pushing you in.
Here I am, still I'm afraid.
You say go,
But I feel unmade.
you speak words,
I can barely speak.
yet you burn in the bush as you answer me.
I will be with you. I will be with you.
Your thunder on my trembling knees. You say, who am I? I say, I am the one who split the sea from the sky, who weighs nations like dust in the fold of my hand. You will walk in, weak, yet you will walk in my weight. They will bow to what you carry. If they ask your name, what flame do I say? My voice breaks splinters in the desert haze. I see slave-marked wrists in the shape of my past. I fear I'll falter. I fear I'll fail them at last.
You're counting your stutter like it seals your fate, but he counts the sorrows spilled at every gate.
You're slow of tongue. You say it like a curse, while heaven writes a story where the weak speak first. Dust in my mouth, fire in my ears. Every excuse is just dressed up fear, but the ground keeps glowing around my feet, and the voice keeps roaring where my pulse should be.
Here I am, still I'm afraid.
You say go,
But I feel unmade.
you speak worlds,
I can barely speak.
yet you burn in the bush as you answer me.
I will be with you.
I will be with you.
I will be with you.
Your thunder on my trembling knees. Who gave man his mouth? Who carved light into eyes? Who carved night into silence? Is it not I? Go. Your brother will bear your words.
My hand will bend the king, my signs will strike his pride.
My wonders will shake his gods.
You will plunder what once owned you.
Owned you.
Golden garment, weight and worth.
Mothers whisper through the doorway.
Take and hurry, leave this earth.
They will walk out through the midnight with the stars pinned to their backs.
Every borrowed cup and necklace, proof I kept what Egypt lacks.
And the cries behind you rising, as the night swells like a sea.
Like a sea.
You will not leave there empty.
You will walk out finally free, for I have counted every heartbeat under Pharaoh's grinding wheel. I will write their names in thunder till the promise feels like steel. Here I am, still I'm afraid.
You say go.
But I step in faith.
You speak worlds,
I just trust and breathe.
while you burn in the bush and you cover me.
I will be with you.
I will be with you.
I will be with you.
Your name in every word I breathe. Tell them the God of their fathers has watched, has remembered, has risen. Tell them
I am,
who I am
and the chains
are already breaking.
here we are.
On holy ground,
Here I am, still I'm afraid. You say go,
But I step in faith.
You speak worlds,
I just trust and breathe.
while you burn in the bush and you cover me.
I will be with you. I will be with you. I will be with you. Your name in every word I breathe. Tell them the God of their fathers has watched, has remembered.
Has risen.
Tell them I am who I am, and the chains are already breaking.
here we
Here we are on holy ground.
You see, God sent Moses back to Egypt, the very place he had run from, and Moses didn't go alone. His brother Aaron stood with him. Now imagine them walking into Pharaoh's great palace, standing before the most powerful man in the land and saying, God says, let his people go. But Pharaoh, he didn't listen. His heart was hard, stubborn like stone. Even when Moses showed signs like turning a staff into a serpent, Pharaoh just called his magicians and they copied it. And so he refused. Now this is where things begin to change. God told Moses that he would send signs, plagues, to show his power, and one by one they came. First the Nile River, the very lifeblood of Egypt, turned to blood. Then frogs covered the land, getting into everything. After that came gnats, then flies filling the air and the homes. Then the plagues grew heavier. The livestock died, boils broke out on people, and a great storm of hail destroyed the land. Still Pharaoh resisted. Locusts came next, eating what little was left. Then darkness, thick, heavy darkness, covered Egypt for 3 days. But where God's people lived, there was still light. The last plague was the death of the firstborn. Each of these plagues was a direct challenge to the false gods of Egypt, defeating them one by one. With each plague, Pharaoh would feel the pressure, even ask Moses to pray. But once the trouble passed, he'd harden his heart again. Pharaoh's heart didn't become hard all at once. At first, he chose to resist God again and again, until each no made the next one easier. What once might have stirred him stopped moving him altogether. And then something sobering happens. After Pharaoh had hardened his own heart repeatedly, God began to harden it as well. Now, why would God do that? Not to force Pharaoh into something he didn't already choose, but to confirm him in the path he had already set. Pharaoh had seen the truth, felt the pressure, witnessed the power of God, and still refused. So God used even Pharaoh's stubbornness to reveal something greater: his power, his justice, and his name to the world. So the lesson is this: if you keep turning away from truth, there may come a point where your heart no longer wants it at all. And that is a dangerous, dangerous place.
Dust in the dawn, sand in my lungs, river runs red, and the sky comes undone.
Who are you to command me?
These bricks, these whips,
My throne,
my hand,
my hand.
I built in a hand, fire out, all the bones.
I will not loosen this land. The children walk, let the chains fall quiet on the floor.
You harden your heart each time I speak.
You will beg them to go before I'm done. I have heard the crying, every stone remembers, every scar is written.
Now watch the waters answer.
Bring down the plagues on Egypt, let the dark winds cover the sun. When the last firstborn is sleeping, you will know what you have done.
Miles over Egypt, breaking through the blood.
The dust, the fear, every blow you struck in secret. I am counting, I am here.
Frogs in the ovens, lice in the land.
I am counting, I am here.
Frogs in the ovens, lice in the linen. Boils on the backs of your best. Cattle collapsing in fields you bless.
Ash in our mouth, hail on our roofs, thunder tearing open the night.
Locusts eating every.
Who is this voice that divides my sleep? Who claws my name in the stone?
I'm a god among men.
I swear I will never let them go.
They feel when it's dawn.
You clutch your power like a sword made of sand. It slides through your fingers each time.
Another warning.
Another wave, you sharpen your fear on my spine.
I draw a line in the darkness.
Lamb's blood over the doors where I pass,
They will be sheltered.
where I linger.
There are no heirs anymore.
I hear the rush of a midnight wind, shadows slipping under every sill.
Every
Bring down the plagues on Egypt.
Let the dark wings cover the sun. When the last firstborn is sleeping, you will know what you have done.
Bells over Egypt, ringing through the blood.
The dust, the fear, every blow you struck in secret. I am counting, I am here.
Doves in the house, doves in the air.
I am counting, I am here. I warned you by the river. I warned you in your hall. I watched the locust cloud descend. I heard your soldiers crawl.
Take them then, take their songs from my streets, take their footprints from my fields. Leave me alone with my stone and gold.
You ruled for a moment, you wounded for years. Now the sea stands up like a wall.
And it swallows your chariots,
Your spears,
female vulgar.
smoke on the water, whales in the reeds, a trail of broken bracelets where the slaves learn how to breathe.
Bring down the plagues on Egypt.
Let the scarred ones finally run. When the chains rust through and crumble, you will face what you have done.
Bells over Egypt fading.
But their echo shakes the throne. Every empire built on anguish turns to dust in my hands alone.
From the river to the sea of glass, every cry is carried still. Through the darkness, through the ruin, freedom walks against your will. Freedom walks against your will. Freedom walks against your will. Freedom walks against your will.
After God brought his people out of Egypt, you might think the hard part was over. But Pharaoh's heart turned again. He gathered his army, chariots and soldiers, and chased after them. Now the Israelites were camped by the sea, and when they saw the army coming, fear took over. They cried out, thinking they had been led out there to die. You see, they were free, but they hadn't yet learned how to trust that freedom. But Moses stood firm and said, "Do not be afraid, stand still, and you will see the salvation of the Lord." Then God told Moses to stretch out his hand over the sea. And through the night a strong wind blew, and the waters parted. They rose up like walls on either side, and right through the middle was dry ground. And step by step, the people walked through. But Pharaoh's army followed them in. And when the last of God's people reached the other side, the waters came crashing back down, and the army was swept away. And that's the truth of it, child. What looked like a dead end became the very path God used to save them. And sometimes, He still works that way, leading us through death into life.
Distant choir hum.
horse and rider, crushed in curl of the tide, armor gleaming, then gone in a heartbeat in silence.
We stepped on the floor of the sea, stones glistening like glass, children clutching rough hands, salt on our lips, smoke in our chests.
Pharaoh's name chiseled on every stone behind us, but in front, only a road through roaring water.
We did not run, we were carried by a promise, by a cloud, by a flame, by a hand we could not see.
I will sing to the Lord, for He has shattered the proud from their crowns in the waves like sparks in the dark. You stretch out your hand and the sea tears open wide. You are my strength, my song and my shield. Forever you ride on the storm.
Chariots thundered like iron on the edge of our fear. Their war cries chased our footprints in the sand.
But the pillar turned like a wall made of burning night. On one side we saw day, on the other they saw none.
We heard wheels splinter, sink into swirling graves, spears and banners dancing down into the black.
You blew with your wind, and the waters rose up in ranks, standing guard like living towers over dust and bone.
I will sing to the Lord, for He has shattered the proud from their crowns in the waves like sparks in the dark. You stretch out your hand and the sea tears open wide. You are my strength, my song and my shield. Forever you ride on the storm.
I am the warrior who fights for the small and the shaken. I shatter chariot, I swallow kingdoms in the sea. But I carry you on eagle's wings to a mountain of fire, to a land where the vines grow heavy and the wells remember your names.
You planted us in the ruins of empires. You made our fear into a fortress of praise.
He has shattered the proud from their crowns in the waves like sparks in the dark. You stretch out your hand and the sea tears open wide. You
see, after God brought his people out of Egypt, out of slavery, fear, and hardship, he didn't just leave them to wander without purpose. No, he led them to a mountain called Sinai, and there, in thunder and fire, he showed them just who he was. Not just a rescuer, but a holy and mighty God who wanted them to belong to him. He gave them words, what we call the 10 Commandments, not to burden them, but to guide them. Like a good father teaching his children how to live well, how to love him, and how to treat one another. Now Moses, he went up that mountain right into the presence of God. 40 days and nights he stayed there. And God wrote those commandments on stone, something lasting, something firm. But here's the thing, child. While God was shaping them into a people, they were still learning how to trust him. They stumbled, they doubted, but God didn't give up on them. That moment at Sinai wasn't just about rules, it was about relationship. You shall have no other gods before me. God was saying, you are mine, and I will lead you. And that, more than anything, is the heart of the whole story.
I am the voice that breaks the quiet, the fire on the mountain, the breath in your bones. Smoke on the ridge, hands start to shake. Air tastes like iron, hearts start to race.
Thunder like footsteps rolling in close. Every hidden motive dragged out, exposed.
We stand in the shadow of something so bright.
Faces to the gravel, afraid of the light.
You shall have no other name above every name on my tongue. Stone-carved commandments cut into our fear and our pride.
When the mountain is burning, I tremble, but I cannot hide. Images fashioned out of our gold, bent to our measure, shaped to our mold.
Hearts like small altars raised to ourselves.
Crowns made of mirrors lined on our shelves. Do not bow down to work of your hands. Dust cannot save you from sinking sands.
Jealous and gentle,
Fierce, yet a friend.
How do I hold you? How do I bend?
you shall not take my name for empty air. I am not a charm. I am the breath that bears you. You shall have no other name above every name on my tongue. Stone-carved commandments cut into our fear and our pride.
When the mountain is burning, I tremble, but I cannot hide.
Remember the day I blessed, and keep it. Let your labor learn to rest. Honor the faces that carried you here.
Remember your mother. Remember your father.
Give us the rhythm, teach us to stop, loosen our fingers from ladder and clock.
You shall not kill. You shall not betray your vow. You shall not steal. You shall not twist the truth. You shall not hunger for what I gave another. I see the thought before the deed.
Hands in my sides, tongue on my teeth, envy like embers burning beneath. How do I live before this gaze? How do I walk inside this place?
You shall have no other name above every name on my tongue. Stone-carved command, cut into our fear and our pride.
When the mountain is burning, I tremble, but I cannot hide.
Write it on our doorway. Etch it in our skin. Free us from our pharaohs. Break our chains within. I am the one who brought you out. Walk in these words and live. And God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery.
You shall have no other gods before me.
You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in the heavens above, on the earth below, or in the waters beneath. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on their children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving devotion to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments.
You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain.
For the Lord will not leave
Anyone unpunished who takes his name in vain.
Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God, on which you must not do any work. Neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your manservant or maidservant or livestock, nor the foreigner within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, and the sea and all that is in them. But on the seventh day he rested. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy.
Honor your father and mother, so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you.
You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery.
You shall not steal.
You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor.
You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his manservant, or maidservant, or his ox, or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor.
Now this part of the story, child, this is a hard one, but an important one. It shows just how quickly a heart can turn and how faithful God still is. But watch Moses closely, because this is where you really see the kind of man he was becoming. Moses had gone up the mountain to meet with God, 40 days and 40 nights in his presence, while the people waited below. Moses was receiving something holy, words from God himself, written in stone.
But down below, the people grew restless. They turned to Aaron and demanded something they could see, something they could control. And while they were losing faith, Moses was standing before God. And then God spoke to Moses. Go down, because your people have become corrupt. Now listen carefully. God said your people, but Moses didn't accept that. Instead of turning away from them, instead of saying, yes, they've failed, Moses did something remarkable. He stood between God and the people. He pleaded, Lord, don't let your anger burn against them. Remember your promises. Moses reminded God of his covenant, his faithfulness, his name, and because of that, judgment was held back. Then Moses came down the mountain, and when he saw the calf, the dancing, the betrayal, his anger burned, not just anger, grief. He had been with God, and now he stood among people who had turned away so quickly. He threw down the tablets, not carelessly, but as a sign the covenant had been broken before it was even received. Then Moses acted. He destroyed the idol, reduced it to nothing, and confronted the people directly. He didn't ignore the sin. He dealt with it, because a leader doesn't just comfort, he also corrects. But here's where you see Moses' heart most clearly. After all of it, he went back up the mountain, back into God's presence, and he said, please forgive their sin, but if not, blot me out of your book. Now think about that, child. Moses was willing to give up his own place for the sake of the people. That's what kind of man he had become. Not just a messenger, not just a leader, but an intercessor. And that's the lesson here. While the people were quick to fall, Moses was quick to stand in the gap. And sometimes the greatest role a person can play is to stand before God on behalf of others.
You remember the mountain, you remember the blood. You forget so quickly, yet I do not forget you.
In the shadow of the summit, ash still on our clothes, we camped around the silence while the fire on the peak rose.
We counted days and whispers, fear turning into doubt. They said, where is this Moses? Let another lead us out.
They tore their rings from fingers, poured memory in the flame, shaped a god from glowing metal, then they danced and drank its name.
I heard their songs below me as I carved my living law. Stone beneath my fingers while they bowed to what they saw. Golden calf, broken covenant, hearts that run too easier gods, but one man stands in the breach again, lifting empty hands, arguing with love. Write my name on shattered tablets, through the dust and desert wind. Moses, stand in the fire between, let your prayer hold them in.
Closer.
Thunder beneath.
I said, let my anger burn, let me wipe this people clean. I will raise a nation from you, a new promise, bright and keen.
But I fell upon the
the mountain, face pressed into stone. Blot me out before you break them. Do not leave me here alone.
Remember Abraham and Isaac. Remember Jacob's nights of fear. You swore by your own glory that their children would be here.
I ground their gold to powder, made them taste their fevered choice. Yet I climb back to the thunder, carrying their cracked, complaining voice. Golden calf, broken covenant, hearts that run to easier gods, but one man stands in the breach again, lifting empty hands, arguing with love. Write my name on shattered tablets, through the dust and desert wind. Moses, stand in the fire between, let your prayer hold them in. You have found favor in my sight. You ask to see my face. I will hide you in the cleft of rock. Let my goodness fill this place.
So he bears a burning burden, wrath above, revolt below. His own name on the altar, so a guilty people go.
Between the hammer and the heart,
Between the judgment and the plea, he is standing in the silence where the broken come to be.
Golden calf, broken covenant, hearts that run to easier gods, but one man stands in the breach again, lifting empty hands, arguing with love.
Carve our hearts like living tablets through the dust and desert wind. Raise an intercessor in our day. Let that prayer hold us in.
You remember the mountain, you remember the blood. When you fall to lesser altars, no, I do not forget you.
in the fire,
In the fear,
an intercessor still stands near.
But it wasn't just the people who would fail. No. You see, Moses still had some of that impulsive, rebellious streak in him. And leading these people was taking its toll on him. The people of Israel were once again in the wilderness, and once again, they were thirsty. There was no water, and before long, the complaints began. They grumbled against Moses and Aaron, saying, "Why did you bring us out here to die? It would have been better if we had stayed behind." Now Moses had heard this kind of thing before many times. In fact, so he and Aaron did what they had learned to do. They went before the Lord, fell face down, and sought his guidance. And God answered. He told Moses, "Take the staff, gather the people, and speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will pour out water." Simple, clear, just speak. But now listen closely. Moses stood before the people, and something in him shifted. Years of burden, frustration, and weariness seemed to rise all at once. He said, "Listen, you rebels, must we bring you water out of this rock?" And instead of speaking to the rock as God had said, Moses struck it not once, but twice. And the water came out, the people drank, the need was met, but something deeper had gone wrong. God said to Moses and Aaron, because you did not trust me enough to honor me as holy before the people, you will not bring this assembly into the land I promised. Now that's a hard thing, child. After all Moses had done, all the years of leading, of interceding, of standing in the gap, this moment mattered. You see, it wasn't just about the water. God had asked for obedience. And Moses let frustration take the lead. He acted as though the power came from him. Must we bring you water? Instead of pointing clearly back to God. And that's the lesson. Even the strongest leaders, even the most faithful, must guard their hearts. Because sometimes it's not the big failures. It's one moment of misrepresentation that carries the greatest weight. But don't miss this, child. God still provided the water. Even when Moses faltered, God remained faithful to his people. And that tells you something about him, doesn't it?
Tossed in the camp, thirst on their tongues.
Crowds in a circle, cursing the sun.
They drag their faith like a chain through the sand. Why did we leave to die in this land?
I carry their rage like a weight on my spine, staff in my fist, but the fault is mine.
Miriam's grave still fresh in our eyes. Now every complaint sounds like goodbye.
My brother beside me, his hands start to shake. I burn like the desert, I tremble.
I break.
Must we bring water?
You shout at the crowd.
Your voice like a hammer, too heavy, too loud.
I strike at the stone twice hard just to prove.
And torrents come pouring, but something
Won't move.
Waters of Meribah,
Flooding the dust and doubt.
Everyone drinks, everyone leaves.
But something holy shutting down.
waters of Meribah,
Cool on a tireless tongue,
but I feel the promise slipping like water through my hands undone.
You asked for mercy and I opened the rock. You asked for life and I shattered the lock. But you who walked beside me, you did not trust me enough to hallow my name before
These people, so drink this day and know this truth. You will guide them far, but not walk in.
you will see the land, but not within. The camp is singing around silver streams. They call you hero, they crown you with screams.
Their cheers are thunder, but hollow and thin. Their praise on my skin feels colder than sin.
You stare at the water, reflection in shards. A leader, a servant, a man and his scars.
I hear your words like a weight in my chest. So close to the promise, so far from its rest.
You raised your hand like it all was yours. Forgot the quiet, forgot the source.
I struck the stone,
Instead of my pride
I feel the fracture.
opening wide.
waters of Meribah,
Flooding the dust and doubt.
everyone drinks.
Everyone lives.
But something holy shutting down.
Waters of Meribah,
through a sea once more.
Now carve through stone in a leader's core.
Sanctify me in your doubt. Sanctify me when you shout. In the crack of the rock, in the cry of the crowd, let my name be lifted higher than the loud.
Rise like a graveyard hymn, every drop a mirrored song of where you went, where I began. Waters of Meribah,
Shine in the desert night. You lost the right to enter in, but not the right to lead my life. They drink and forget their anger and fear.
I drink and remember.
Every word I hear.
Waters of Meribah,
Flow, then fade from view. We walk to the edge of promise and leave the rest to you.
Moses had brought them all the way to the edge of the promised land. And now, near the end of his life, he gathers them and says something very simple, yet very powerful. He tells them, "This command I give you is not too hard for you. It's not far away." In other words, child, God's way isn't hidden up in the heavens where you have to go searching for it. It's not across the sea, out of reach. No, it's right there, close, in your mouth and in your heart. You see, Moses wanted them to understand something. God hadn't made this complicated. He had made it clear. And then Moses lays it out plainly like a grandfather would, with no confusion. I set before you today life and prosperity, or death and destruction. Life, if you love the Lord, walk in his ways and stay close to him, but turning away, that leads somewhere else. And then he says something that echoes through time. Choose life. Not just for yourselves, but for your children and their children after them. Choose to love God. Choose to listen to him. Choose to hold fast to him. Because Moses says, he, God, is your life. Now that's the heart of it, child. This wasn't just about rules or land or blessings. It was about relationship, about choosing God. Not once, but again and again. And even now, that same choice still stands before every one of us. Life or turning away. And the invitation is still the same. Choose life.
I set a road before you, one bright, one broken, life and good, death and ruin. Hear me.
Dust on the sandals, ash in the air. We stand at the edge of a promise, hands still shaking from despair.
Names carved in desert stone, fathers buried on the way. You say choose and my chest gets heavy.
What if my heart runs astray?
Blessing on the left side,
Curse on the right,
thunder in the distance.
fire in the sky.
I feel your eyes on my breathing, on every tremble.
Every try.
I hear you call me, choose life over the valleys, over the fight.
Tie my bones to every word you say, that I and mine may live today.
Choose life,
That I and mine may live today. Gold gods on a hillside, cheap shine, quick thrill. They promise the world for a heartbeat.
They promise and never fill. Lore on a worn out scroll folded close to my chest. You say, love me, walk beside me. You say obedience is rest.
blessing like rain on the harvest.
Curse like dust in the grain.
Heart pulled hard to the river.
Heart pulled back by your name.
I hear you call me,
Choose life,
over the valleys, over the fight. Tie my bones to every word you say, that I and mine may live today.
choose life.
That I and mine may live today.
Look at the land before you, rivers, vineyards, children's laughter. I give you this day life and good, death and disaster. I am the breath in your lungs, the length of your days. Turn your ear, turn your heart, turn your feet to my ways.
If my steps grow stubborn, if my love grows cold, will you still call my name? Will you still hold? If I chase strange altars, if I lose my song, will you break my chains? Will you pull me strong?
I set before you life and death.
Blessing and curse, choose life, that you and your children may live.
Love me,
Listen,
cling.
we choose your calling, we choose life over our hunger, over our pride.
Bind our hearts to every word you say, that we and ours may live today.
We choose your promise, we choose life through every exile, every night.
Ancient voice still thundering our way.
Choose life, my child, we live today. Choose life, my child, we live today.
Moses had come a long way, from a baby in the river to a prince in Egypt
to a shepherd in the wilderness, to the man who stood before Pharaoh, parted the sea, and led a nation. And now, his journey was coming to its end. God led Moses up a mountain, Mount Nebo, and from there he showed him the land. The very land God had promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses could see it stretched out before him. Hills, valleys, rivers, a place of rest after all those years of wandering. But here's the hard part, child. God told him, you will see it, but you will not enter it. Now think about that. All those years, all that leading, and yet Moses would not step into the promise himself. But listen, Moses didn't argue, he didn't fight it, he trusted. And there on that mountain Moses died, alone but with God himself. No crowd, no ceremony, just the Lord. And Scripture tells us something beautiful, that God himself buried him. No one knows the place. It's as if God was saying, this one, he is mine. Moses was 120 years old, yet his strength had not failed, his eyes had not dimmed, his life wasn't cut short. It was complete. And the people mourned him for 30 days. But here's what you should hold on to, child. Though Moses didn't enter the land, he fulfilled his calling. He was faithful to what God gave him to do. And the story doesn't end with him. It continues through Joshua and through the people he led. But Scripture says this, there has never been another prophet like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. And that's the legacy you see. Not just what he did, but how closely he walked with God. And in the end, that's what matters most. Dust in my sandals, wind in my beard, eyes on a promise I carried for years.
You led them through thunder, through hunger and flame. Now you stand on the border, alone with a name. Valleys of Jordan spread under my feet. I see every harvest I will never meet. You can taste the river, you can trace each town, but the gate that you open will close as you turn around. This is Nebos Edge, where the faithful fall short, where a lifetime of wandering stops at the border of the Lord.
You can see the land of milk,
You can feel its gentle rain,
but you lie on a hidden hill and the earth forgets your grave. This is Nebos Edge, where the promise burns bright in the hands of another as you fade from the sun.
when you whispered water from stone. I spoke from my anger when you asked for your own.
He called you his servant, face-to-face friend. Yet even the chosen can stumble near the end.
I bless them in party, tribe upon tribe. My hands are still trembling, my bones feel the tide.
You climb with your memories, sand in your veins.
He shows you the future, but your footprints stay the same. This is Nebos Edge, where the faithful fall short, where a lifetime of wandering stops at the border of the Lord. You can see the land of weeds, hear the children shout your name. But you sleep in a secret field, and no tongue can mark the place. This is Nebos Edge, where the promise burns bright in the hands of another as you vanish from the sight. Did I lead them far enough? You led them through the sea. Was my heart still hard? He still spoke to thee. If my feet may not cross, then your story will. Let their children remember how you climbed that hill. This is Nebos Edge, where the faithful fall short, where a lifetime of wandering stops at the border of the Lord.
You can see the vineyard spread like a dream across the plain.
But you lie where only God knows the dust that bears your name. This is Nebos Edge, yet the blessing flows on through the river, through the valleys, with the feet that carry it. Dust in your sandals, wind in my beard. I saw what was promised, then I laid down my ears. These are sleeps.
My people, you live in a world full of noise. Voices pulling you in every direction, telling you what to chase, what to love, what to become. But I tell you this, not everything that calls to you will give you life. Long ago I stood before a people just like you, restless, uncertain, often afraid, and I told them the same truth I tell you now. God is not far from you. You do not need to climb to the heavens to find him, nor cross oceans to hear his voice. His word is near you, closer than you think, in your heart, in your breath, in every moment you choose. But hear me clearly. You are always choosing, with your thoughts, with your actions, with what you love and what you turn away from. You choose life, or you choose what leads away from it. Do not be deceived. Life is not found in power or wealth or the approval of others. I have seen kingdoms rise and fall. I stood in the courts of Pharaoh himself, and even that greatness could not stand against God. Life is found in this: to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to hold fast to him when the path is unclear. I have seen what happens when people forget. I have seen hearts grow hard. I have seen fear turn into rebellion. I have seen people trade what is true for what is easy. Do not follow that path. Instead, choose life. Choose it when it's difficult. Choose it when no one else does. Choose it not just for yourselves, but for those who come after you.
Because your choices do not end with you, they echo. And know this: the God who led us through the wilderness, who made a way through the sea, who remained faithful even when we failed, He has not changed. So walk with Him, and you will find that even in the wilderness of your own time, He will lead you home. And that, child, is a voice still worth listening to.
Here I am, still I'm afraid. You say go,
But I feel unmade. You speak words I can barely speak, yet you burn in the bush as you answer me. I will be with you. I will be with you. When your hands are shaking, when your heart won't move, I will be with you. I will be with you. Every step you stumble, I will carry you.
empty hands, still you insist. Name my fears, you don't flinch at this. Turn my doubt into holy ground. As I stutter in circles, your grace surrounds.
I will be with you.
I will be with you.
When your hands are shaking,
When your heart won't move,
I will be with you.
I will be with you.
Every step you stumble,
I will carry you. You don't choose the strong, you're choosing me. You don't wait for courage, you just speak. Fire in the branches, trembling knees. You are here with me. I will be with you. I will be with you.
when your hands are shaking,
When your heart won't move, I will be with you. I will be with you.
every step you stumble,
I will carry you. Here I am, still a little afraid, but you say go, and I go by your name.
This is holy ground.
I will be with you.
Will be with you. Blood on my shaking hands. I ran out into the wasteland. 40 years of hiding from the man I'd been. Sanding all my emptied plans. Talking to the sheep in silence. Learning how to listen more than the lead.
I'm standing where I don't belong, a stranger in the shepherd's robe, a runaway with a restless soul. Who am I when I am alone? You call me child, you call me friend. You write my story with your breath. Teach me to trust till your voice is my identity.
Their feet burning ground.
you say my name like you've known me forever. Stuttering fear in my mouth,
You answer every tremor.
I'll be with you in the dark. I'll be with you before you speak.
If you are the I am,
Then I can be the me you see. I'm standing where I don't belong,
before a king who thinks he's God.
with all my doubts and a wooden rod.
But I'm not standing here alone.
You call me child, you call me friend. You write my story with your breath.
Step after step,
I learn to trust what you see in me. Staff in my trembling hand, walking back where it began. Echoes of the man I was calling me.
fire in the darkened sky, rivers turn and kingdoms cry,
Power I don't understand.
moving through me.
I'm standing where I don't belong,
Before a throne that stands so strong,
and every step is lit above.
by a voice that calls me on.
You call me child, you call me friend.
You break the chains I could not bend.
Sea after sea, you make a way ahead of me. The water left and right, fear behind and faith in sight. Every step a fragile line between death and life. Songs rising from the sand.
Freedom I can barely stand.
In the wilderness you shape